So whenever we talk about the tennis, then always we recognize the faces of especially the Leander Pace, then Saina Nehwal, Sania Mirza. What is the future of tennis in India? Today we have an international tennis coach, Marco Sirocco. So we will talk about him on this issue. Welcome, Marco.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, same here. So when we talk about the tennis in the India, the renowned faces, Leander Pace, Sania Mirza, Saina Nehwal, always in our mind. So what you would like to say about, in your words, the future of tennis in India?
Well, those are players, and we can go back a little bit in time and we talk about Ramesh Krishna, Vijay Armitraj, Ramanathan Krishna. We can go back a long time because tennis has always been present in India. Although I think tennis is not part of whatever results you have at a high level, is not part of a system. It's part of a little bit of a random opportunities where you get some very talented players happen to be at the right place at the right time. They coached well, and then they can make it to the international level. All these players are a little bit product of that. What happens is that India does not have uniform system, that can actually create the conditions and have the sort of support for players in a consistent way go all the way to the top. So inevitably, players that want to reach a very high level in tennis and have the potential and the dream for that, they will most likely have to get to a certain level and leave India and look for those facilities, to keep on improving their game elsewhere abroad.
Whenever we see the singles matches or we see the double matches, India always better perform in the double matches. Why not in the single? What you would like to think?
Well, it's like this. Normally what happens is, although doubles is a very demanding game on its own, has different characteristics than to singles. In doubles, you do not need the same sort of physicality and weapons in terms of shots, strokes, that you do need in singles. In singles, you have to be extremely tough physically. You have to play at a very high rhythm.
Need more stamina?
More power, and you have less time, at least from the back of the court, to manage, the points. In doubles, it's about perception. It's about developing, very fast hands, good tactical notion. And in the end of the day, all these skills are very specific, but they're less physical than in singles.
Especially in the doubles, the area of the concerned players is reserved. The marked.
Yes.
This is the one of
There's
thing.
two people sharing the same side of the court, so inevitably that also creates, the possibility of not being so exhausting and so demanding.
So you are become from the land of the football. So how's you come a tennis coach? So what was the reason behind this?
I became a tennis player before, which for me was not much of a problem to decide, because I had no talent for football. So that was out of the way. There was never a doubt between one or the other.
You loved football. It's a luck by chance. Yeah.
I love football, because everybody in Portugal loves football. But as a player, I knew from a very young age, from school, that this was never going to be something that I would excel in. Yeah. And I fell in love with tennis through table tennis. I started playing table tennis and I went into tennis. I watched the final of Wimbledon 1980 between Borg and McEnroe, and I got motivated. Yeah. And that's where I started playing. Then I carried on playing, and I took it to, at least in my country, to a high competition level.
So we would just hear, okay, you would like to go to the governor of Chandigarh, governor of Punjab University of Chandigarh. So what is the reason?
The reason is because I've been here for 3 years in Chandigarh, and I've started a project already in CLTA, a high performance center. At the same time, I was technical director in CLTA. But last year, I decided that, the environment was not helping me at all. Actually they were looked like they wanted me out of the place. So I carry on doing my work in an academy that we created next door, which is in Council here. And, we have good results. One of our players that started with me in CLTA now is number 1 in India under 16s, Ribar Saroya.
On international level.
Yes, is going to international level next year. Next year I will be traveling with him to Europe and probably to the States, depending on how the program will be structured. But this is a very viable probability. And so the idea is very simple. I came to terms with the fact that I will stay in India. I have the players that, I have a relationship with. I'm building them up with my staff. Obviously, when I say hi, I mean my staff.
You believe in stability?
I believe in stability because it's the only way to produce high results You don't get to a very high level unless there's stability. If there are instabilities through the process, forget it. Very, very high level results will not be achieved. So I came to terms with the fact that I will stay in India. And, I always had the dream and I have the know-how. I was also technical director of the biggest club in Portugal for 9 years before coming to India. The market in India, it requires, a big training center. Where we can promote tennis from the young ages all the way to the top. Then there's a big need for that. Like I said, good players in India need to go abroad in order to carry on improving their skills and hoping to be one of the top players one day. So I want to create in Chandigarh, the conditions so that people don't need to go abroad, to go to the ACA step. And so that people can achieve their dreams here and then obviously play internationally, but train here. And I think Chandigarh has got all the requirements. I also believe, to be honest, that the government of Chandigarh, in this case, the government shares the same dream as me in trying to help players to achieve their dreams. And living one day, I'll stop working like him and leave a legacy.
Which kind of support you need from the administrator side?
Infrastructures. I need infrastructures that are compatible with the project of
Basic
this size.
facilities.
Yes, basic facilities. Because in the end of the day, it's like this. To make a very good, solid work in the improvement of players, you need to have enough number of courts so that we can bring a lot of youngsters, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and start building them up already with the right requirements so that, they have the basis to then being developed step by step all the way to the top. So we need infrastructures like that. We need, residential facility where players can come from all over India, like I have now in Kansal. I have players from all over India training with me, but we don't have the infrastructure in terms of lodging for them. So each one has to find their own place to stay, which makes it less comfortable for the players. And we need a place, obviously for a nice gym, all the facilities, to have the infrastructure compatible to that sort of project need to be pretty much, there on premises.
As you told, you spent the 3 years in the city beautiful Chandigarh. Yes. So tell us something about the future of tennis in especially Chandigarh.
Well, it's like this. It all depends what can be done here. Let's say if, to be honest, and sounds like promotion, but is a reality, is what I believe. If I can be interacting with more players, we have a better chance of producing better players. I know what I do. I've had the results. The results in India already here in 3 years. You already have number one in India, which is a child, that has never, it's the only player, that from Chandigarh that has ever reached and trained in Chandigarh will reach number one in the rankings in India. So we will do more often this sort of thing, because the potential is here, the methodology is here, the passion from our side is here. And all it's missing, is actually the right infrastructure so that we can make this more of a broad project, assimilate more people in and give more people the possibility to follow their dreams and achieve these sort of goals. Also, there's one thing that I want to say, one important aspect is I also need space, not only for the gym, for fitness and that, but also for Pilates, which is the expertise of my wife. And Pilates is a method of training that prepares people, balances bodies and gives them, all the tools so then they can take, very heavy training without the possibility of injuries and optimize their body skills. So this is something that I'm introducing also to my training. A lot of top players are using it now. It's quite recently that they've been aware of this sort of importance, and this is something that obviously needs to be introduced to the whole program so that players will become more sane, more balanced, fitter, and more competent. For then going all the way to a very, very demanding level of play.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So this is the Marco Surica, who is the international tennis coach. He shares his experience about the Chandigarh, about the tennis future in our country. So keep watching on air. This is Baljit Marwaha with cameraman Rajat, Chandigarh.